Welcome to the podcast, Let the Prophet Speak. This is Isaiah Yeshayahu, chapter 52, Nun Beis. And this is Saul Weinreb, the host of your podcast. We just finished reading chapter 51, and just a really brief summary at the end of chapter 51 in our podcast 51C. God told the Jewish people, that He is the one who will comfort us, and therefore we should have the strength to bear His message, to bring His message to Zion, to Zion, and to Yerushalayim, to Jerusalem. Today he continued, and the message was a message that not to worry, that her children, Jerusalem's children, shall return, and this suffering of Jerusalem will be over, and the cup of suffering, the bowl of suffering, so to speak, will be handed off to her tormentors. The chapter 52 continues on this theme, and continues with the song. Many of the phrases and terminologies will be familiar to many of you from the liturgy of Friday night, from the Lecha Dodi, the famous poem that we sing on Friday night every week in synagogue, in shul, in synagogue. And the poet who wrote Lecha Dodi drew upon these psukim, these verses, to construct the poem that we sing on Friday night. So let's begin with verse 1. Uri, Uri, wake up, Livshi uzech, Zion. Zion, get dressed in your strength, in your splendor, your greatness. Livshi bigdei tifartech. Dress yourself in the clothings of your majesty, of your tiferet, of your majesty, or your wondrous clothing. Yerushalayim ir hakodesh, Jerusalem, the holy city. Why should you dress in splendor and in your glorious clothing? Ki lo yosif yavo vach od arel v'tamei. Because no longer will the arel, literally means the uncircumcised, as we had many times. Arel, arle lev, the idea that the uncircumcised of heart are the ones who are arrogant, the ones who are not humble, v'tamei, and the one who is impure, the one who has an impure heart. No longer will those people be a part of your nation. The pure, the humble, they will come and return to Jerusalem. Hisna'ari, again, wake up. Me'afor kumi, get up from the dust. Shivi Yerushalayim, sit up, such as the image of sitting up on your throne, Jerusalem. Hitpatchi moserei tzavarech, the shackles, or the shackles that were laid around your neck, open them, untie them. Shiviyah bas Zion, the daughter of Zion who has been a captive. These verses speak for themselves, so they don't require too much commentary. So I'm going to continue to read in verse 3. Kicho amar Adonai, because so says God, Chinam nimkartem, you were sold away for free. Now I just want to remind you, in chapter 50, verse 1, we read where God says, Ko amar Adonai, Eze sefer kritot imchem asher shalachti, where's the bill of divorce? God assured us back then that He was going to bring people back to Jerusalem, because He did not. And God said, Omi mi no shai. Did anyone owe me money, asher macharti eschem lo, that I had sold you to him, that I need to pay them back in order to redeem you from exile? Hein ba'avona sechem nimkartem. You were sent into exile because of your sins. So it was with your sins. That was the reason why you were sent. So again, God emphasizes that same idea. Chinam nimkartem. You were sold away for free, not for money. It wasn't like I need to redeem you for a price. V'lo b'chesef tiga'elu. I don't have to pay anyone off to get you out of exile. I'm just going to take you out of exile. Kicho amar Adonai Elohim, because so says God. Again, Mitzrayim yorad ami varishono lagor sham. My nation first went to Egypt, Lagorsham, to live there. The Egyptians had no right to enslave them. Yes, I decided to send my nation to exile because I felt that they deserved to go to exile. But to be enslaved, that they should be made to suffer, that was the choice of the Egyptians. Ashur be'efes ashako. And Assyria, when they made the people of Israel suffer, it was for nothing. They stole their things for nothing. I just want to go back for a moment to chapter 10, verses 5 through 7, where Ishayahu emphasized the same idea, where he said again, Hoy Ashur shevet api. Ashur is the rod of my anger, umatehu v'yadam zami. In other words, I gave the Jews over to Ashur, to Assyria, in order to punish them. However, the purpose was v'am everasi al tavenu. I did command them to take over my people. However, despite that, the purpose was for them to be overlords over the people of Israel. V'hu asher lochein yidameh, it says in verse 7. He had other ideas. Ulevavo lochein yachshov. In his heart he thought of other things. Ki lahashmid bilvavo. He decided to destroy. Ulhachris ka'im lomar. And to cut off the nation and other nations. So, in other words, the Assyrians had the right given to them by God. God decided to punish the people and put them in the hands of the Assyrians. But to go ahead and abuse that right, that's something that the Assyrians decided to do. So God says, therefore, I don't owe anyone, the Jewish people don't owe anyone anything. I'm just going to take them out. Bi'atah, mali po. And now at the end of this period of exile and suffering, why am I here anymore? It's God speaking of himself as if he himself is in exile with the people and saying, why do I need to be here anymore? Nu'um Adonai, says God. This image permeates many, many prayers in the liturgy. The image of God himself in exile, including in the Lachadodi prayer we say on Friday night, Ki lukach ami chinam. My nation has been taken for free, for nothing. There's no reason why they should have been made to suffer. Yes, exile, true, but the suffering was something that was placed upon them. Moshelav yehelilu noam Adonai. Their rulers, the ones that rule over them, cry out and make fun and scream and yell and mock, says God. That there's no reason why they should be mocking, making fun of my people, saying bad things about my people. V'tamid kol hayom shemim minoatz. People are saying hateful things about me, says God. This was never warranted. Why am I here anymore? Says God. I just want to read quickly the words of the Radak over here. Mali kolkach b'zeh hagolos. Why do I need this exile? Sheherachti osam zeman rav begolos, that I left them for so long in exile. Yomar hakel. So says God, b'higiaz man hagula. Ki lakach im ami chinam enam mitakvim begolos b'shvil kesef. They're not there because they have some kind of debt of money. Sheim chayavim l'shoveim, that they're obligated to their captors. They were sent into exile because of their sins. They've already been punished more than enough. Therefore my nation shall know my name, says God. When will they know my name? When I finally redeem them. Until the final redemption comes, the people may have hope. They may believe in the future. They may have bitachon, they may have trust and faith, but they don't know it until the final redemption comes. Therefore, God says, finally the nation will know. Lachein bayomahu, therefore on that day in the future, when they finally know, what will they know? Ki anihu hamidaber, that I am the one who has been saying this all along. Hineni, here I am, says God. When this news comes, manavu al he'orim, how beautiful it will be, how wonderful it will be on the mountains, raglei mivaser, when the footsteps of the people, or of the person bringing the news. Now this is going back to what we said in the beginning of this section of Isaiah. If we go back to chapter 40, what was the message? God told the people, Nachamu, Nachamu, bring comfort, bring comfort. Al ha'gevoha lilach, get up on a high mountain, mivaseret Zion, the one who is bringing the news to Zion. Harimi v'koach kalech, raise your voice, mivaseret Yerushalayim, the one who is bringing the news to Jerusalem. Now God says, finally, and then we said, but the people don't want to speak, they don't want to say. But now, finally, when they know the message, now here, 12 chapters later, how beautiful it is when they finally get up on the top of the mountain and say the news. And what's the news? Mashmiah Shalom. They are bringing the news of peace. Finally, peace. Mivaser Tov. They are bringing the news of goodness, that goodness will happen. Mashmiah Yeshua. They will bring everyone and tell everyone about this, so that everyone hears of redemption. Yeshua, redemption. Omer L'Tzion. That is what they are going to say to Zion. Molach Elohayech, your God is finally ruling. The God of peace, the God of goodness, the God of redemption. Kol Sofayech Nasu Kol Yachtav. Nasu Kol. Those that are your watchmen, so to speak, the ones who have been standing in Zion, looking, waiting for this day, they will finally raise their voice together and Yiranenu and sing. Ki ayin ba'ayin yiru, they will see it with their own eyes. B'shuv Adonai Tzion, when God comes back to Zion. Pitzchu ranenu yachtav, they will break out and sing together. Harvot Yishalayim, the ruins of Jerusalem, because it's time to be rebuilt. Why? Ki nicham Adonai amo, God has finally giving comfort to his nation. Remember, Anochi, this whole thing started with Anochi hu menachem chem. I am the one giving you comfort. Therefore, get up and bring this news. Now it's time. God has done it. Go'al Yerushalayim. He will redeem Jerusalem. Chasaf Adonai etzurah kadsho. God will bear his holy hand le'enei kol hagayim, in the eyes of all of the nations of the world. Again, Ishayahu tells us this prophecy, this beautiful prophecy, and he immediately, lest you think this redemption is only for the Jewish people, we said, Ki nicham Hashem amo, Go'al Yerushalayim. However, what does he do? He does it for L'enei Chol Hagayim, V'ra'u Kol Afsei Aretz, all of the ends of the world, all of them will see Et Yeshuat Eloheinu, they will all see the redemption of our God. The entire world will be redeemed. Suru tzu'u misham tamei al tigo. Get out of Jerusalem, those of you who are impure, those of you who are arrogant. Don't even touch Jerusalem. Tzu'u mitocha, get out from there. Hibaru, make Jerusalem pure, make it clean. Nosei kalei Adonai, those of you who are carrying the vessels of God. Ki lo b'chipazon tetzeu. You're not going to be rushing out of exile with enemies chasing you, and you're running to save your lives. And you're not going running. Ki holech lifnechem Adonai. God is going in front of you. You're going to go slow and careful and calm and come properly. Uma'asivchem Eloi Yisrael. The one who is gathering you is the God of Israel. Hine, behold, Yaskil Avdi, my servant will be successful. When it says here, my servant, it's obviously this entire context has been going on the people of Israel. And just like we've said in numerous occasions, throughout all of these chapters, when God referred to Avdi, my servant, he was referring to the people of Israel. The examples are numerous, but most notably, I'm going to go to chapter 44, verse 1. V'atosh Shema Yaakov Avdi. Listen, Jacob, my servant, Yisrael, and Israel bacharti bo. Kol mar Adonai osecha v'yotzercha mibeten yazorcha. Al tira Avdi Yaakov. Do not be afraid, my servant Jacob. Yeshurun, and the people of Yeshurun bacharti bo, whom I have chosen. That's one of the most famous verses where God refers to, but repeatedly we've had over and over again, God was referring to the people of Israel as Avdi, my servant. And the same thing here, In the context, as we can see, right, God has asked his people to be the ones who bring the news, to be the ones who stand on the top of the mountaintops and call out the message of God. Hinei yaskil avdi, my servant shall be successful. Yorum v'nisov v'govam od. He will be exalted, he will be uplifted, and he will be raised to great heights. Ka'asher shamim olecha rabim. Just like before, when he was in exile, so many people, when you were in exile, people were disgusted with you and they wanted to destroy you and they said bad things about you. Kain mishchas me reish mar'ehu. His appearance was disgusting to people. People didn't like him. People hated him, the people of Israel. V'to'aromi b'nei Adam. People didn't like his appearance. He was so abused. He didn't look human because people would beat and torture him. Kain yazeh goyim rabim. Just like then the people had rejected the Jewish people when they were in exile. To the same extent, in the future, the people will be amazed, will be completely startled and blown away, so to speak in modern language. Many nations will be blown away. Alav yikpetzu melachim piem. The kings and the leaders that used to abuse them will now be silenced. They will shut their mouths and stop that kind of behavior and that kind of hateful talk. Ki asher lo supar lohem ro'u. Because things that they had never been told, things that they could hardly even imagine, they saw with their own eyes. Asher lo shamu, and things that they have never heard before, kinds of things amazing things that they've never heard about before. The idea that a people can come back to their land and proclaim peace and goodness and redemption, and the message of Yeshayahu throughout of justice and righteousness, Bonanu, they have finally understood. And when they finally understand that message, all of the leaders of these nations, they will all be amazed and startled. Yazeh goyim rabim, many nations, and they will all, like we said several verses ago, the redemption of our God will be seen throughout the entire world. Will experience that redemption. Thank you so much for listening and studying Isaiah, Yeshayahu, Parak 52. Looking forward to studying 53 together.